Germany's got a China problem, and it could spell disaster for all of Europe. Welcome to China Uncensored, and I'm Chris Chappell. Germany has a China problem, a big one. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has gotten a lot of criticism for being soft on China, which is weird because normally Angela Merkel seems so tough. But I guess she melted when Xi Jinping went all panda diplomacy on her. Once again, it's the pandas. It's always the pandas. Stop falling for their stupid cuteness, people. Even Putin fell for it. But it's not just stupid pandas causing Angela Merkel to be soft on China. It's also German companies that want to do business in China. And Merkel is facing a revolt from Parliament for her reluctance to ban Huawei. And her reluctance is pretty weird, considering that her own government told her that Huawei worked with Chinese intelligence. And this is important. Germany often sets the tone for the rest of Europe. For example, when Germany goes to war, the rest of Europe does too. Germany, such a trendsetter. But all jokes aside, if Germany were willing to use their power to stand up to the Chinese Communist Party, it would probably mean that China couldn't get a foothold in most of Europe. Unfortunately, certain people in the German government seem to have a soft spot for authoritarian regimes. Who would have guessed? According to an Axios exclusive, a top German official hushed up a report on China's influence in Germany. A high-ranking German official suppressed a sensitive intelligence report in 2018 on China's growing influence in Germany out of fear it would damage business ties with China. Funny how different a decision like that looks in light of the coronavirus. The report looked at how the Chinese Communist Party has been seeking to influence every level of German government, society, and business. The report probably should have taken a closer look at the unnamed German official who suppressed the report. Now, according to Axios, Merkel did see the report. And there's a reason why some segments of the German government have been so reluctant to ruffle China's feathers. The former German ambassador to China said Germany depends on exports to a high degree, and that gives business a large influence. Business representatives talk to the government and are used to being listened to. For example, Germany's largest telecom is 32% state-owned. And guess what? It relies heavily on Huawei technology. And it has lobbied strongly against any action that would make it harder for it to roll out 5G. The Ministry of Economic Affairs, often eager to defend the interests of German industry, has backed the firm. Volkswagen has had to defend its operations in China's Xinjiang, where there's been a lot of ethnic slave labor being used. I knew there was a reason Hitler liked the Volkswagen, but somehow I don't associate the Volkswagen bug with genocide. That's good marketing. Volkswagen has actually been in China since the 1980s, which shows how long Germany has had economic ties with the Chinese Communist Party. Germany's big industrial companies, including engineering behemoth Siemens, car giant Volkswagen, and chemical maker BASF, were among the first Western companies to make big bets on China in the 1980s. And Germany's economic relationship with China has gotten closer and closer under Merkel. In the 15 years since she took over as chancellor in 2005, German exports to China have quintupled. China is Germany's largest trading partner. And the Chinese Communist Party is working hard to make sure the status quo in Germany is maintained. Huawei even wants to set up a media outlet in Germany. The Chinese technology company is looking for an editor-in-chief to lead Huawei's news offering in Germany. I wonder how Huawei News will report on German-China relations and Huawei. That's crazy. That's like Verizon setting up a news office in America. If Verizon were headquartered in Pyongyang. Can you hear me now? Now, all this doesn't mean that Germany has completely ignored China's human rights issues. They do talk about them. Merkel has even met with the Dalai Lama, twice. But while the German government is willing to occasionally criticize the Chinese Communist Party, they're not going to stop doing business with them. In fact, it seems like Germany's elite may have bought into the Communist Party's propaganda that China is just different and shouldn't be judged. One German billionaire said, "We can't judge the Chinese according to our standard of values or our cultural or humanistic ideals." That same billionaire has spent decades dealing with China, including as the Asia point man for Germany's main industry lobby. I wonder whether he's in that hushed-up report on China's influence in Germany. But clearly, the future of Europe is being fought in Germany. Seems strangely familiar somehow. And now it's time for me to answer a question from one of you, a fan who supports China Uncensored on the crowdfunding website Patreon. Jenny Wong asks, "Hi Chris, why has the Vatican/the Pope refused to meet with Mike Pompeo and the 88-year-old Hong Kong Cardinal Joseph Zen, and that the Pope intentionally omitted comments in his speech about China's security law in Hong Kong on July 5th? Well, that's a really great question. I'd like an answer to that too. The Pope hasn't really been talking much about the national security law in Hong Kong. And the Pope rejected a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who has been a vocal critic of the Chinese Communist Party. That might be because last month, the Vatican and China renewed an agreement that allows the officially atheist Communist Party to appoint Catholic bishops in China. And yes, China is already breaking the deal. Only last week in Jiangxi province, dissenting Catholic priests have been placed under house arrest in breach of an agreement to protect clergy from coercion. Now, I get why Merkel has been soft on China. There's money on the line. I don't get what the Vatican gets out of being soft on China. It's not as if the Chinese regime is persecuting Christians or Catholics any less because of it. If anything, it's getting worse. They say God works in mysterious ways. Maybe the Pope is taking a cue from him. Thanks for your question, Jenny. And if you'd like to hear more about the Vatican's deal with China, we'll be talking about that on the next episode of our podcast, China Unscripted. Yes, we have a podcast. Be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to hear your question or comment read on the show for hundreds of thousands of people to hear, join what I call the China Uncensored 50-cent Army, and join me in the battle against the Chinese Communist Party. You can join for as little as $1 per episode on the crowdfunding website Patreon. You'll also get some other cool perks as well. Head over to patreon.com/China Uncensored to learn more. Link is below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.